the other question that I prepared. Yeah, so I think this is it. Just be casual, be kind, and be ready to gush over your favorite author's books. So, hi Laura, I have the books here. These are the Romanian translations. Here is If He Had Been With Me, which is in Romanian Dacă ar fi fost cu mine. And here is If Only I Had Told Her, which is in Romanian Dacă i-aș fi spus. So these are the books that made us cry so much that I was talking about. Can you tell us how it feels to be translated in so many countries? Like how it feels to see all these books that,
It started as a slow trickle. I can't remember what the first country was. I think it was first translated into Turkish. But that was before the TikTok virility. I think that was like in 2015. And then when it started going viral on TikTok, I mean, it was just like a tsunami. And in that tsunami was all of these translations. And I mean, I cherish every one. I wish I'd grabbed my Romanian copy because I've seen it recently. I swear they're scattered all over the house, all the translations. But even I put things into words for a living, but I don't know if I can quite put into words what it feels like to have that many readers all over the world in different languages. Something that really struck me a while ago was I think it was someone in The Guardian was interviewing a teenager in Ukraine, and she was saying that she'd been reading If He Had Been With Me, and it had kind of helped her with some catharsis with big feelings and things like that. And there's also a Russian translation. And so it's just in all the conflicts in the world, there's kids reading the same books on either side, and there's more that unites us than divides us. I don't have a really good tail ending to that other than, yeah, it's overwhelming and it kind of makes the world feel very large and very small at the same time to think of that. And it's very humbling thinking too of the hard work the translators put into it. That's art and artistry, that work. So yeah.
I love that answer. So I'm even teary-eyed a bit right now. So yeah, it's so important to us to feel seen by the author. So lots of people that read your books, that's the first thing they say. This is so authentic. This is how I feel as a teenager. This is how I felt in my teenage years if they're older.
Mhm.
So how do you manage to grasp that teenager experience, that voice so well?
Well, for one thing, when I wrote If He Had Been With Me, I was 24. So it's a little bit closer. I'm 41 on Sunday is my birthday. Actually, my autumn shares my birthday, by the way. I'm one of those authors who does that with a main character, but I have the same birthday as Autumn. Shoot, what was I saying? I got distracted. Oh, I was 24, so I was a little closer to teen years, but even then, music was the main thing for me. I had a very dedicated playlist to songs that just brought me to that place. Music is so powerful and so good for just bringing you back in a mental place. And so, yeah, I'd listen to a lot of the same songs over and over again. And they weren't even necessarily from my teen years. Some of them were. But a lot of them just really captured the feelings of the book. I should probably post a playlist of songs at some point. I know some of the English translations have playlists. Actually, no, I think that's only for The Song Is Not For You, which is not published from me.
Not yet, no.
No, so I need to, I should put something out there with some of the songs I listen to. But yeah, that's my secret for any emotion. If I need to write an angry scene and I'm not angry, I'm having a great day. I find my angry songs. So
But isn't it difficult? So, like in these books, you have among loss and grief and all those
mhm.
themes, you have so many difficult topics. You have like depression, and you go in the heavy part of it. You just don't brush it off. You're there with Autumn while she's depressed, while she's going through this horrible process that many of us, if not most, at some point in our lives have been and will go through. So isn't that difficult? So you go about your day, you're just, doing, reading something for yourself or shopping or something, and then you have to go to this dreadful moments in someone's life with someone that's your character and just be there, actually put yourself in that spot. Isn't it hard to go back again afterward?
It all is art coming from a place inside me already. I'm not sure if this is a quote from my friend or if my friend was quoting someone else, but someone once said to me, writing is a healthy way of dealing with unhealthy things. And, there's no one-to-one correlation to my life and Autumn's. The comparison I usually make is in the second book, I talk about Autumn. It's like she put her life in a blender and then seasoned it with fiction. So there's a lot of emotional truth to if he had been with me and if only I had told her, and all those feelings were always in me. So if I'm crying at my keyboard while I'm writing, then I'm not crying when I'm away and not writing. And there was something you said in the beginning of your question that I want to check on. You said something about, people who have known a death like this or haven't. The thing is that there's two kinds of people. Either they have known it or they haven't known someone yet. But if you don't know someone who has just suddenly died in a crazy, unexpected, and then they're just gone, you're going to someday. And my book is just kind of a warning, I guess. That's kind of honestly how I mean it is, hey, it can just happen like that. And someday, if you don't already know someone who died like that, you will. That's life. But it's still worth it. And I hope that comes across, especially in the second book. Life is terrible, but it's still worth it. Did I answer the question, or did I half answer it and then segue into my own thing?
No, that was exactly it. So, and that was something that I was thinking about while reading the book, is that saying to have loved and lost is better than not to have loved at all, and that's like, okay, in a romantic relationship, but also in every other relationship with our friends, our family, and so on. So yeah, I love that answer. And also, how do you feel about, I was talking with you, a sneak peek, guys, into what we discussed a little bit before the video, about the young people and the kids that read your book. They process these emotions, maybe for the first time, and they cry a lot, and then send you and us videos with them crying with the book in their hands. How does that feel? How do you process that?
I never set out to be a TikTok challenge. The Can Laura Nowlin make you cry? But no, I owe so much to Gen Z's willingness to be vulnerable openly, because that's what drew people in. Was this book put me in a vulnerable place? Like, look, let me show you proof. Like, this is how vulnerable it made me. I cried this hard. And that's what drew in the readership, were people sharing that. And so thank you to anyone, if you're listening, who posted. It means the world. I started to say this to you, Laura. It's so much prettier in Romanian, our name, but right before we started recording. But, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought talking about our name.
Right. Well, it's such a beautiful name, so yeah. But yeah, you were talking about the kids crying and like having this viral response to your book.
Yes. No, so in the book, Autumn says, I just want to write a book, one book, get it published, and know that somewhere out there I touched at least one person, and that was me. I wanted just one person. And so like Laura, was that pretty how you say it, Laura? Like if it was just you here, I would be like heart aflutter, like, oh my God, thank you, that anyone has come and anybody is gonna watch this later after the live recording, like, thank you all individually. I wanted just one. And I have all of you, and I I say this too much, but it means the world to me. I mean, I feel like I have the world.
Well, we're very, very happy to have you here, and we cannot believe that we can get to talk with our favorite authors. Like, I don't know, 20 years ago, you could not imagine something like that. Like, just meet your favorite authors on Zoom. What is
Yeah.
this?
Yes.
Yeah. You mentioned that you had this similar thing with Autumn. How much of her, or like any other characters in the book,
Mhm.
are you, part of you, parts of you, or like your family, your experience in life?
Um, so a lot autumn is a lot of me. And then a little bit of who I wanted to be when I was a teenager. Um, there's also a lot of me and Autumn's mother. When I wrote If He Had Been With Me, I wasn't a mother yet, but knowing I had clinical depression and I wanted to be a mother, I was kind of working through the idea of like, how is this going to affect my child someday? Um, and now I am a mother, and my kid's amazing, wonderful. And sometimes I look at him and I'm like, I think maybe, he's very young, but he isn't quite, well, maybe he's going to have depression, but like, it'll be okay, because it's also going to give him other gifts of, sensitivity and things like that. So, yeah, I just try to be honest with him about my feelings, which, Autumn's mother wasn't quite as forthcoming as I think, and that's why some of their struggles happened. So, trying to think about other characters that I can talk about and be like, oh, it's this person or this person without
I mean, we all love Finny, so yeah.
Oh, Finney's an amalgamation of a friend of mine who passed away. We didn't have a romantic connection. And then someone else I'd had chemistry with in high school, but nothing had ever really happened with. And then, oh, I can say this, my high school sweetheart, who I did date. There's so much of him and Jamie. And some people love Jamie, and I appreciate that because he's not all bad.
He's a
Um,
high school boyfriend, you know?
yeah, but yeah, for high school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you have like a puzzle, all these bits from your life that
Mhm.
are but aren't the same
Yeah.
thing in the book. Yeah. So like, so bringing this to inspiration. So what else do you feel gives you inspiration? Do you have any favorite authors, or you said songs, so music is definitely there. Do you
Mhm.
have something particular that, inspires you?
It can come from anything. Music is a huge one, like I said before. My mother's a musician, and so is my husband. But also movies and other books. I just finished reading 15 Dogs by, oh shoot, I can't remember the author's name.
We'll look it up.
It was very good, and that was research for something I'm currently writing right now. That is an adult piece that I can't talk about, and I also have a young adult piece that I can't talk about, but hopefully I'll be allowed to talk about soon. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other goodness. If I start naming authors, it could go on forever. Margaret Atwood is a huge one. I am glad that Hemingway died before Twitter or social media because, like, I love him and I learned so much from him as a writer. But I'm so glad I don't have a better insight into his mind.
Yeah, same, honestly. Yeah.
Um, but yes, no, I feel like I learned to write dialogue from Hills Like White Elephants. Um, Goodness. Sorry, now I have ADHD, and so now I'm like, there's a montage going in my brain of all my like flashes of all my favorite works of art, and my brain can't grab a title.
Just to pick one, it's all of them. So
Um,
would you
Go
say you
ahead.
were like an avid reader when you were young? So you've mentioned all these authors, and some of them
Mhm,
classical authors. So were you
mhm.
like that kind of reader that, reads all day and wants to be a writer someday?
Yes, I would read walking home from school. I just knew my route well enough to know where to maneuver around uneven sidewalk and everything. I'd look before crossing the street, but and then yeah, I would get in trouble for reading under my desk um, at school. So pretty compulsive. When I was in my mid 20s, I went through a period where I was unemployed and I would read an average of 5 books a week. That was probably one of the best years of my life, even though I was unemployed,
So
because
that's
I
the
just go to
secret.
the library every 3 days with a big stack.
Wow.
Um,
So did you dream to be a writer, or it just
yes,
at some
from
point?
that was so from fourth grade, I wanted to be a writer. And then in seventh grade, I decided I wanted to marry Prince William. And so that if I became an actress, that would be a better route to meet him. And Meghan Markle proved proof of concept for that. But by the time I was 15, I'd gone back to now, I need to be a writer and not worry about that. So it was pretty consistent from age 9, except for that brief Prince Harry, or not Prince Harry, Prince William phase.
That's an understandable phase. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
allow it. Yeah. So guys, I can see, I can't see you. You have like your cameras off. Anyone that wants to have to put a question, um, forward can open their cameras and let me know. So I'm just saying that so they are prepared because I have lots of questions, but I also want to hear you guys speak and just like, take advantage of this opportunity, honestly. Um, okay, and like Trăiește events. Oh, Mariuka posted the book that you mentioned, 15 Dogs. Thank you, Mariuka. Okay, so if nobody has a question right now, I'll move back to my questions. Which, well, I've asked about inspiration. We've talked about virality for a bit, but how does it feel? So you were published, and
Mhm.
then at some point there was this huge viral thing online, and that led to something else. That led to New York Times best-selling lists. It led to, I guess, lots of interviews, people recognizing you on the street. How does it feel to be suddenly so successful?
I've not been recognized on the street yet. I'm still waiting for that. Uh, but in terms of everything else, actually, I don't know if I want to be recognized on the street or not. I go back and forth
Yeah.
on it. So part of me hopes it never happens, and part of me wants it to. But for all it feels like a miracle because the book was originally published in 2013.
Yeah.
I was 28 years old. At the time, I was feeling very exhausted and I had no idea why. And it would be about 4 years until I would be diagnosed with, you might need to translate this, multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, we also call it MS. They know.
You also call it MS.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and that I couldn't figure out why it felt like my passion for writing had died. And then with the diagnosis, I came to understand what was going on with my brain. But to get diagnosed, you have to start treatment for a couple of years to prove that the treatment is working. So by the time I was diagnosed and then 100%, with the treatment and everything, I needed to have a baby. If I was only 33, but in my mind, I was like, I got to have a baby if I'm going to have a baby, just in case. So I had to go ahead and do that. And that takes a lot of your brain. That is it is worth it, but you need to want it 100% to pursue motherhood. But then I think my son was about 4. It was like right before he was about to start kindergarten, and I was getting my brain back and my life back, and then it was like, well, now you're famous. Here you go. While you were gone, this happened. So when I say it feels like a miracle, it kind of this is an old movie. Well, it was a movie made in Spain first called Abre los Ojos.
Yeah,
And
you're
then
right.
Tom Cruise remade it with Vanilla Sky. But basically, you find out midway through the movie that he actually died, and then he's in this alternate kind of heaven type thing. And sometimes I'm just kind of like, so when was there a point where maybe something happened? Because it's just, it is more than I could have ever dreamed. And it just came on so suddenly, like exactly when kind of the clouds had parted and my health and my life had me ready for it. So I don't know.
We also
Might be
love
we're doing. Yeah, sorry. Your question kind of opened up something in my head. I was like, sorry. I'm a minister's daughter, and so sometimes I'm like, maybe this is God acting in my life. And then I realize if I say that out loud, that might be weird and off-putting to other people.
Yeah, no, but feeling that it was meant to be, it's,
Yes,
yeah.
that is universal feeling, because even if you don't believe in a conscious God, some people still believe in there's some kind of machine in motion. And so it definitely has that feeling for it. And so overwhelming gratitude. Did we ever get a question from the kids?
Yeah. So I'll get them. There are a few questions. I'll take them one by one in the order they were written. So a question from Insta. You mentioned you wrote a book when you were younger. I think they mean the first one. Is there something you would change if you got the chance to rewrite it now?
At
I told you
time,
they're gonna be cheekier. The question.
yeah, no, it's not cheeky. I'm trying to think out how to answer it. So at the time, so every character in the book is white. And at the time I was like, well, that's what I know. But it takes place in Ferguson, Missouri, which is famous for the killing of Michael Brown. At the time, it wasn't. When I first published the book, I thought, oh, I'm going to put my cute little hometown that no one's ever heard of in here. And so looking back, like, I wish I had one or two persons of color in there to just reflect Ferguson better and just more honestly, because it's a diverse area. It is. Some people read the book and they're like, that doesn't sound like Ferguson. Like, no, Ferguson's very suburban and quiet. That's not the picture that was painted in the media, but the picture in the book is accurate. Just I wish I had a little more diversity. Other than that, no, I feel pretty satisfied. I hope you weren't angling for, oh, I wish I hadn't killed Finney, because I have no remorse.
I think they might have, but yeah, this is a way better answer. Okay, so another question from a different person. Wait, sorry. Were there alternative endings you wrote when you ultimately discarded discarded? Was there ever a possibility of a happier ending? So yeah, I think people are aiming towards that questions.
From the very first page, the entire concept of the book was about the inevitability of Finney's death and how time is ticking down. I meant it to be a book. This is very arrogant of me, by the way, but I meant it to be a book that's reread. And so when you reread it, there's all sorts of hints. Some readers go through it knowing, oh, I know what she's going to do here. Some people are shocked, which always surprises me, because there's a whole chapter about, on August 31st, nothing happened. Or not 31st, it was August 8th, nothing happens. And about, did he feel a clock ticking down? Yeah, it was always the concept of the book. in the hardcover edition that the English publisher put out of If He Had Been With Me, in the author's note, I talk about my husband came home and I was crying because I was like, I have to kill him, but I don't want to. But I like, because I knew it wouldn't be as good of a book. Like when I say I have no remorse, it's because if I hadn't done it, it wouldn't be as good of a book. It had to be done for the sake of the art. There were things that I wrote that didn't make it in there. There was a scene of Finney's funeral, but ultimately that was written very differently for If Only I Had Told Her. But yeah, there were scenes cut from the original draft of If He Had Been With Me, but nothing that would have changed the overall plot.
Okay, so guys, sorry to break this to you, but you were always gonna cry. And reality is that they loved the ending.
Mhm.
They got so emotional about the ending that they wouldn't have loved it if Finney lived, but they don't want to admit that.
I completely understand. No, they love to hate it.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to process these things. They make you sad, but
Mhm.
it's part of what makes it great.
I am not comparing myself to Shakespeare, but if you wrote Romeo and Juliet and they lived, like
Yeah,
the story's kind of pointless.
yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. I'm still reading from the chat because you guys aren't opening your cameras and asking things. But yeah, write them in the chat and I'll read them. Lorelai is asking, I was wondering, how do you balance personal creativity with what readers or publishers expect from you when writing a new book? Wow, that's a good question.
Um, that is a good question. The answer is I drive my publishers crazy. um, and they are constantly like, please just write it. And I say, so much of my process is staring out the window. I can't make it go faster. My family is so good about if I say I'm in a creative space and I could write, it's just go, whatever you need. My son, it's taken some time to learn, but he's learned if I have headphones on, it means mama can't talk to you right now. For the most part, he's learned that. But that's, because my husband's emulated that and shown the, respect mom's work. So yeah, if you're a woman with a demanding creative career, find someone to partner with that's going to respect your creative space, and then drive your publisher crazy, and it all works out.
Well, you also give people advice for maybe if they want to be writers. So, and have a space, a room of one's own.
Mhm.
It's like in the book. Um, okay, so there's another question here. You mentioned a playlist and how important music is to you. What songs do you think best represent the book,
Um,
or the both of them, the duology?
for both of them, let's see. In both of the books, I listened to Parachutes by Mates of State um, quite a few times on repeat. There was a couple of songs. Do I have a? No. I can see the books are always like somewhere in my house when I'm looking for something else, and I'm like, why is this copy here? I'm trying to think of another song. Oh, Colorblind by I'm blanking on their name. They were big in the late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of the songs are going to be late 90s, early 2000s. Why can't I think of them? It was in the film
Colorblind by Counting Crows.
Counting Crows.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I looked it up.
Yeah, that one has a lot of bands have done covers of that song. It's such a beautiful song. And yeah, like I said, I might just suddenly shout a name of a song suddenly while you're mid-sentence.
Maybe you create that playlist that you were talking about, put it like somewhere
I
on
need
Spotify or
to
something.
make like a better functioning website where I could post things. But having a terrible website, I decided was like maybe part of my mystique.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna ask something, but Lorelai has another question. So you mentioned some actions within your creative routine, like listening to music for capturing the raw emotions. How would you describe your creative process? Do you tend to choose specific places, hours for writing, or is it more of a spontaneous process?
Both. When my son is at school, I try to get in the creative headspace. I have a couple of places I like to go to. The one thing that is consistent is I need to be able to look up and away in a distance. So if I'm at a desk, I usually have a window, but I can also just be at a chair, but I can't have something right in front of me. I need to be looking out. Did I say I sometimes light incense
No. Oh,
already? I sometimes light incense to kind of create a magic circle in my head. And then sometimes, yeah, it just strikes me. Like I realize something, or I hear a car passes by with a song, playing loud, and it strikes something in me, and I got to go write. And that's when my family has to understand that I got to go disappear for a little bit. So you need space for both.
okay. I hope Lorelai is happy with the answer. So again, guys, just ask your questions however you want it. Before that, because we were talking about the creative process and all that, I was also wondering, so you wrote what's mainly coming of age, YA romance kind of stories, but not just that, but you also have your projects that you can tell us about. We're not being intrusive, we're not asking what the projects are, but hypothetically, would
Mhm.
you write in different genres? Would you like maybe a thriller or I don't know, something completely different than this?
Yes. um, yes. I have adult projects and teen projects coming up. Yeah, genre fiction was something I had said for a long time I never wanted to do, and then found myself doing one of the projects I can't tell you about is not just one genre, but two, like combined in one. So I was saying earlier, I need to not say, oh, I could never write something scary, because then something scary will occur to me. Then I'll be like, shoot, maybe I could. And then I'll have another project that I am late on that I can't tell you guys about because I'm so late on the publishing date for it. I do want to write something scary though now. Shoot, I've said it 3 times. It's going to
We-
happen now.
We're really looking forward to like a scary story, just for Halloween. Maybe after the projects that cannot be named now.
Mhm.
Maybe a horror story afterwards, who knows?
Mhm.
Um, Alexandra Elena is asking, she says, first of all, hi Laura, love your writing. Did you experience writing slumps, like a blockage? If yes, what's the first thing you did to enter your flow again?
Oh, writing slumps are going to happen. Whenever that happens, I ask myself, do I need to push through this, or do I need to fuel up my tank? And sometimes I realize like I've not been consuming art. You can't create art if you're not consuming art, if you're not watching films, and reading books, and trying to find new music and things like that. So sometimes, I might even call it a slump, but I'm just trying to take some stuff in. And sometimes you're in a slump because you're just like, this isn't good enough. And you just got to push through it and be like, it doesn't matter if it feels terrible. I'll fix it later. And 9.9999 times out of 10, you're going to go back and say, hey, this is way better than I thought. And it's just doing that over and over and over again, because the slump is always going to come again in one way or another. And you're always going to feel like, I can't do this. This is terrible. I felt that way this morning before coming on here. I was going, I can't write this. I'm terrible. But here's the thing. Bad writers think they're good writers. Good writers think they can do it better. That is my mantra. So if you're an aspiring writer and you're like, I'm terrible, great. That means you can make it better. You're on your way.
I think we should make t-shirts with that, and just, especially for younger readers that
Mhm.
are very passionate. They do write. They want to be writers, and like sometimes it's very complicated between school and everything else, and feeling like you're never gonna go viral, you're never gonna go as big, but having one of the favorite authors saying this, I think it's very, very inspirational. So thank you.
Like,
Otilia, with the beautiful name, Otilia Opera, is asking, what book do you think everyone should read at least once in their lifetime?
oh, goodness. Pride and Prejudice. Um, The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. No One Belongs Here More Than You by Miranda July. It's a collection of short stories. That's another one where I just learned so much about writing. There are lines from No One Belongs Here More Than You that I think about every day. There are more. That's 3, though. I think that's a good, and just like the music, if I think of another one, I'll shout it out suddenly.
And the follow-up question, actually, from Lorelai. In your opinion, what makes a book timeless?
Oh, well, I mean, I mentioned Pride and Prejudice. Like the opening scenes of Pride and Prejudice are still hilarious today. The character of the mother and such. In her, right, it's technology will age a book, and it's something to be careful of, especially in our age. My books, I mentioned CDs and them, and so I'm just like, okay, it's the early 2000s, it's fine, they'll forgive me. Then they do forgive me, I feel like, because the emotions are the same. Like, one of my favorite things in the world is that, like, when they excavate ancient Roman walls, like, they find graffiti on them, and what they say is, Cassius was here, or go to this place for a good time, and like the same stuff we write on our walls. So, like, no matter where you are in time and space, the feelings are the same. And if you're sticking with that, there's no perfect recipe. But if you stick to that attitude, even though the things around us might change, basic human motivations are going to stay the same.
That's so beautiful. I'm sure Lorelai loved the answer.
I hope so.
But speaking of timeless things, something that was not timeless, so to say, is YA in general. So
Mhm.
this is something like that appeared. We had books written
Mhm.
about teenagers or like this
Yeah.
kind of period in life, coming of age books, coming of age stories in all media. But this is something that's a bit new as a
Mhm.
subgenre.
Mhm.
Why do you feel it's important to have YA books? Why do you feel it's important to celebrate, as we do now during this festival, to celebrate these kinds of stories?
Well, it's 2 reasons. For one, reading makes good humans out of people, and so encouraging young people to read, um, and celebrating them for reading and celebrating the books they love, is so important. And on the other hand, the theme of self-discovery is going to follow you your whole life, and that's why there is so much crossover between YA readership and adult readership. And while the focus needs to be, remaining on the teens for the teens, it hmm. See, this is why I'm a writer, is because I can stare off to space, and then like half an hour from now, I could type out a thing, and then tomorrow I could edit it.
Don't worry, we're just like, we're in awe, just
Mhm.
listening.
But for both, we need to celebrate kids reading and celebrate what they love. And if they love something and we're like, I don't get it, we need to figure it out, and find out why. And then it can be good for teens too to see adults being like, yeah, I still identify. I remember feeling that way, and I sometimes feel that way now.
Yeah, and I think it's nice. I've noticed that there are some mother daughters or mother kids kind
Yes.
of yeah that read together the same book, the same
Mhm,
YA book, and they're just this
mhm,
opens up so many conversations sometimes.
mhm,
Something that you might not be able to speak with your mom,
mhm,
all the time, but this is a way to do it. This
mhm,
topic is in a book, and we are discussing the themes of the book.
mhm.
Yeah. So,
My mom and I read vampire murder mysteries
oh, so you did this.
together, yes, and discussed them when I
That's so
was a
great.
teen.
So we have another question from Bianca. She says, how do you choose what you want to write about? Besides ideas spontaneously coming to you, do you also consciously decide on a subject to write about?
I have no control. It's something that happens to me. I am at the mercy of the muse. Something just occurs to me, and then it's kind of stuck. It's the German word earworm. It's a brainworm for me. A less gross metaphor I sometimes use is when you're like running your hand along like a silky cloth, and then your fingernail kind of catches on it. It's like I'll just be going along thinking, and then I'll be like, oh, and then like I kind of go back to that spot, and I can't let it go. And then I have another project that I have on my table. Because, like I said, just today, I was like, damn it, now I have to write something scary. Oh. But I have to write something scary now. You guys were here for the inaugural moment that happened. So, like 5-6 years from now, when I write something scary, you can be like, I was there.
That's how she want. That's the first time she
Mhm,
thought about it. Yeah, I
mhm.
think the kids are gonna love it. And also, oh, we have a different question. Sorry. Okay, so Otilia is asking, would you be open to having your duology adapted for the screen? Oh my God. Would you like to have a movie or a series?
Every author hopes and fears for that. Um, it's something everybody wants. Uh, Maybe it'll happen. I will be terrified. Um, the author has so little control. It becomes the movie is someone else's creative work. The author gets to be like, gets to influence it. But you're kind of at the mercy. And so, I hope it happens someday, and I hope they don't do something crazy with the ending, and that the casting is done right, because it would be so amazing. But then the other hand is, um, did you guys have the Percy Jackson books?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember the first movies they made? The fans were like, "What? How is this even supposed to be the same thing?" Like, I would hate that to happen so much. So there's always that fear. So yes and no, once again, is the answer.
So you'd love to see it, but done right. That's
It just leaves open the possibility of someone tattooing my baby.
yeah, I'm sure I've seen some of Pinterest, I think, some tattoos inspired by the book. I can send you a link if you haven't
Wait,
seen it.
I've never seen that. What? Sorry,
I've seen
I was trying to say that, like, if they made a movie of If He Had Been With Me and it was terrible, it would be like someone had put a tattoo on my baby.
oh my
Like,
God.
because they mark it forever. But I had no idea there were tattoos out there. Please
I'll
send
send
me
you
to
the
my
link for
email
that.
immediately.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
definitely.
goodness.
I told you you influence so many people, so um Just a second. So I don't want to skip any question. Okay, so Lorelai asked, especially nowadays, the cover of a book is extremely important. Special edition, hardcovers, yeah, and so on. How involved were you in the design of your book covers, which we love?
The first one I had nothing to do with. They were re-releasing it. So it had originally been published in 2013, and then in 2015, the ebook went on sale for a week, and it popped up on the ebook bestseller list on the New York Times. And then the next week, when it was off sale, it dropped down. Just so many people have been like, "Oh, I've heard of that. It's only 99 cents. Click." But then they re-released it with the lollipop cover after that. A couple of years later, they were doing a big release of all of my publishers' bestsellers, and they just kind of like, here it is. And I was like, oh, okay. And with the next one, there were a series of covers, and I had some input on, but they tend to take them to groups, and as teens have a big say, which is something I do like about my publisher a lot. Is that they talk to the teens about, do you like this or that? And I mean, I love both of them. I think, the first one so well captures, the sense of broken innocence. And then the second one kind of beauty still within, brokenness in the second book. I think, yeah, both the kids and my public.
Do you guys hear her? Oh, I think maybe there's lag.
Vin.
Should I write to her? Oh. Sorry, Mariuka, maybe she's gonna try to access the link again. I don't think she... Oh, de fapt, pensă...
She's still here.
She's still here? We cannot hear you, Laura.
She's back with a different handle, I think. Just wait. Talk
Yeah.
amongst thyself.
So guys, ask your questions. We don't have much time. I have another 3 questions here, but like this is it. This is the time, the moment. Hi, Laura, we can see you, but not hear you yet.
Oh my goodness. All right. Oh my goodness. Hi. Sorry, the sound went into my headphones. My laptop became unplugged at some point during our talk and died.
Don't worry, we were talking about the great things that we can do on Zoom. There's also the disadvantages. That stuff like these technical problems might happen, so it's fine. We're back.
I had no idea that my chair had unplugged the. Oh, okay. So yes.
Welcome back.
I hope for anybody who's an inspiring author, they're like, oh, okay, I don't have to have it all together.
Yeah. So we have another 10 minutes, which is not a lot.
Mhm.
But like I said, guys, ask your questions now. I'm gonna read the other one, so there is time for them still. Mândrescu Jenica, I hope I didn't butcher your name there. Says, hi Laura, I love the books. Have you ever thought about writing a sequel to the series, maybe Autumn's Future? They're really trying.
So I said I was never, ever, 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 ever going to write anything about them after If He Had Been With Me. I had said another book was and I said that for nearly a decade. So you have no reason to believe me or trust me. I am going to say no, absolutely never. But it is like, if you were like, no, I don't believe you, I think in 10 years we're going to have another, that is your right, and you have every reason. Because while I sincerely believe in my heart the answer is no, I don't trust me either.
And the second one came after you said you weren't gonna have a sequel, so
Yes.
like a prequel with like a different perspective and so on. So, you know, fool me once.
Well, it was the audiobook.
Yeah.
When they made the audiobook, it was she did such a beautiful job. I was just back there in that space. I've not listened to the audiobook of the second one.
Maybe that's the secret.
Yeah, now I'm like, wait, So I'm gonna like go in an elevator and someone's gonna be piping it in.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the next questions because
Mhm.
I want to ask
Yes, yes.
follow-up questions, but there is
And
no
I'll
time
try
for
to
the
be
kids
more
one.
quickly.
No, don't worry, we have time. Alexandra Elena says, thank you for your answer before. It's a very eye-opening way of seeing things. As a follow-up to the writing process, she's the one that asked before. Do you have or believe in structure when writing? Like thinking ahead of your character's traits or the ending, maybe. Do you write as the inspiration comes to you?
Generally, I know the ending when I begin writing, and it's all the middle stuff that I have to figure out. You know, that is one of those things where there are so many wonderful writers out there who will describe a process completely different in mine. You know, they'll outline everything with little sub categories, you know, act 1, 2, 3. And I could never work like that, but I always have to have something, an image or a thought or a feeling that I'm working towards. And if I have it too well plotted out, then I get lost in the weeds and I can't, you know, I'm so focused on getting to this next thing that I said was going to happen. I don't see opportunities where the plot could meander in other different ways. And one of my favorite things about writing is when you find yourself putting something in there and you're like, I don't quite know why I'm doing this. And then a couple of chapters later, you're like, I am so glad I did that because now I'm going to bring it on. It's your brain will surprise you. I guess, you know, you're trying to figure out what works for you. Try them all out. Try the outlines. In English, I think that the slang is pantsing it, where you don't have any kind of outline, you're just flying by the seat of your pants is the expression. I don't know how well that translates.
No, we got it.
You've got it. Okay.
We don't have a similar expression, but like, yeah. Okay, so the inspiration comes to you. That's the answer for Alexandra. Thank you for the question. Ana Maria Dumitru asks, what message do you hope all your books, past, present, and future, would leave behind for readers?
Ooh. My legacy, huh? Well, especially with If He Had Been With Me, and if only I had told her, the message is love fully, completely, and honestly, because you just don't know when your life or anyone else that you loves is going to end. And it's always going to end. It's either you're going to die first or the person you love is going to die first, no matter what. That's always good. If you live to 100 each, one of you and you, but the things I'm working on now,
The secret ones.
Yes, the secret ones. I'm trying to think. Like that message is always going to be in everything. I guess I have other stuff that I'm trying to say about humans. I will say this, an adult piece I am working on right now is exploring consciousness in the female form, what it means to be a woman. But especially I'm going to be thinking about your question for the rest of the day, because I've never gone like, what would I want the overall message of all my books together be? I didn't have a singular theme. So you've given me something new to articulate. I can't remember the name of the person.
Anna Maria, I hope you're happy.
Anna Maria.
And another question. Again, this is kind of it, where these are the last minutes. So if you want to ask something, guys, this is it. Like for real this time. Another question for Lorelai. She asked, do you think while YA literature is evolving compared to the classics you may have grown up with? I think it's a follow-up to the YA question.
I do think it's evolving. When I was a kid, there was so much YA out there that seemed to be written by adults who were writing YA because they thought it was easier than writing an adult book. And you just could tell they were talking down.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that anymore. I don't see a lot of teenagers saying, I read this book and it felt like this person had no idea what it was like. I'm sure it's evolving in other ways. I feel like I might be too in the woods to be able to answer that, because in the 90s, YA was kind of invented in the 70s and 80s, and I grew up in the 90s and 2010. So yeah, there was kind of a metamorphosis going on at the time that I was kind of in the swirl of. And I think we're in a good place now in terms of young adult literature. Yeah, it just seems to be it's earning its place to as something held to a higher standard, I guess.
Yeah, and I think TikTok and the readers today have so much influence on what you find afterwards in the libraries, in the bookshops, what publishers choose. So it's better than ever to be a young reader, because you
there's so
literally
much more out there too.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about the young people aspiring to write. There's so many more readers now than when I was a kid. Ebooks are not killing reading. Just like digital music hasn't killed, record players. It just has to do with if you love something, you're going to want it physically. And that's where, physical books come in. But yeah, there's so many readers, and there's someone out there who needs your book. So you should write.
That's the loveliest way to finish this meeting with the young readers. So inspirational. Thank you so much, Laura, for being here with us. I'm sure
Thank you,
there are
Laura.
other questions. Maybe we'll do this again for the next projects after we publish them in Romanian. Maybe we'll chat again online. And thank you so much for being here with us and for writing such great books.
I was honored to be invited. Thank you guys for having me. I'm so sorry about the mishap. And then now I'm all millennial handheld on my phone.
It's authentic. We love it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for being with us.